if this is true, then your God is a horrible teacher and would get fired from any school district that he ever worked for. You said we were talking about the Adam and Eve story, and in the day that they eat, they should surely die. And he said that from the day they could surely die, they lost their immortality. Listen to this part now, y'all. God does not always mean what he said. God doesn't always mean what he said. That is why his thoughts and ways are beyond regular human understanding. So let me understand this correctly. Your job is to teach people. You create these beings, and you want to teach these beings how they should live and what they should do, and you want to teach them how they should worship you and how they should treat one another. You want to give them rules, but you give them rules that don't mean what they really mean. They mean something different. I think the police call that, or the judges call that, entrapment. You're setting up, you mean your God is setting up a false dichotomy here that is hyperbole. And I do understand when some parents, they use hyperbole in order to teach their children certain things. Say, oh, you know, if you go do such and such, all this stuff is going to happen to you, and knowing good and well all that those things aren't going to happen. So he put this fear in them, right? So let me ask you a question. Adam and Eve don't know the difference. They don't know the difference between good and evil. Well, Adam especially doesn't know the difference between good and evil. Doesn't know what death is. Has never experienced death. No animal has died. No tree has died. Nothing has died. Has no idea what this concept of death is. Think about a small child. You tell a small child, don't run out in the street because you may die. A 3-year-old, 2-year-old doesn't understand the meaning of death. So usually it's don't run out in the street because I told you to, or there's some other punishment that you give the child for not running out, to keep them from running out of the street, to give them that discipline, so that they're not fearful of death or getting hit by a car because they don't understand the pain or the significance of death of running out in a car. They are not running out into the street, at least my kids, because they knew that they would get some type of punishment from their father if they did. That standing, lean, and rest, that push-up position and hold it, that squat while holding, a broom. Yeah, that right there. They didn't want that, so they didn't run out into the street. Your God said simply, for in the day, and the day word there is yawn. Yawn in every other place in the Bible equals a 24-hour day. Every place in the Bible. That's what yawn means. Every place in ancient Hebrew, that's what it means. A 24-hour day. For in the day that you die, you will surely, the day that you eat, you will surely die. Now, I know somebody's going to come on here and they're going to say, well, I think it's Peter or Hebrew, one of them, one day to God is as 1,000 years to man. And since Adam only lived like 900 and something years, then he died in the day, in a God's day. And that's the perspective that you have to have. You can't make it work when you want to make it work, because your math ain't mathing. Because if yawn meant 24-hour day, and that day he was referring to God's days, 365 days in a year, 930 some odd years. Adam was old as hell, because your math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing. You can't flip it to fit your narrative whenever you want to fit your narrative. And then you have to recognize that what you're doing in this aspect is you're taking authors who wrote things much later, trying to explain how something works, or trying to overcome an issue, rather. Because this was a common thread that people were having these questions. And so in order to facilitate those questions, they are coming up with a different answer. Much in the same way, if you were writing about the Cold War today, and trying to explain something that happened in the Cold War based on our understanding today. And this is what was happening at the time frame when that was written. So your math ain't mathing, and not meaning what it says really does not make any sense. But y'all have a great day. Remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.